Before modern machinery, nature provided everything. Welcome to the ancient craft of making tung oil and building without nails. It begins with raw seeds, poured into a traditional stone mill. A gentle ox provides the power, pulling the heavy stone wheel in endless circles. The seeds are slowly crushed into a fine, rich powder, carefully swept up by the artisan. The crushed seed powder is gathered by hand and transferred into a large, steaming pot. Heat is essential here, breaking down the natural compounds to prepare it for pressing. With a fire roaring below, the steaming powder is turned by hand. A woven straw cone is placed on top, capturing the intense heat and moisture inside the traditional steamer. The thick steam works its magic, softening the crushed seeds perfectly. The craftsman opens the lid and gives the piping hot mixture one final stir to ensure an even consistency. Now comes the shaping. The hot, sticky powder is evenly spread into circular molds lined with fresh straw. He steps right in barefoot, using his own weight to compress it. It's a rhythmic, physical process. He presses down firmly with his heels, turning the loose powder into a dense, solid cake. The friction and pressure smooth out the surface completely. The straw is folded over, sealing the cake tight. One by one, these round bundles are loaded into a massive, hollowed-out log, which serves as a traditional wooden wedge press. He aligns the cakes carefully, ensuring they sit perfectly flat against each other. Thick wooden blocks are then slotted into the remaining space, setting the stage for the oil extraction. The tension builds as a massive wooden ram is maneuvered into place. This is a brilliant feat of ancient engineering, relying entirely on human force and simple mechanical advantage. Two men swing the heavy battering ram, driving the wooden wedges deeper and deeper. The immense pressure forces the pure, golden tung oil to burst forth from the pressed cakes. It flows down like liquid amber, caught in a simple clay pot below. This precious, natural oil will serve as the ultimate protective finish for the beautiful woodwork to come. Now, the focus shifts to preserving the wood. Quicklime is poured into a pool of water, instantly reacting with a violent boil and thick clouds of hot white steam. Raw wooden planks are fully submerged into this highly alkaline bath. Heavy stones hold them down. This traditional treatment strips away sap and perfectly protects the wood from future termites. Days pass quietly in the peaceful countryside. When the time is right, the stones are removed, and the artisan washes the thick white lime residue off the newly cured timber. The wet planks are leaned up against old trees to drain. He carefully wipes each one down by hand, ensuring the surface is entirely clean and ready for the sun. Left to air dry beneath the open sky, the wood undergoes a beautiful transformation. The natural curing process turns the pale timber into a rich, deep, reddish-brown mahogany color. With the material prepared, precision work begins. Using a simple square and a marking tool, he scores a perfect line, then uses a hand saw to make a delicate cut. An ink line is snapped to guide the way, ensuring absolute straightness. The craftsman patiently rips the large planks down into smaller, workable strips, completely relying on his manual tools. Every structural piece requires exact measurements. He marks the intervals with incredible care, drawing out the complex interlocking joints that will hold the entire structure together without a single nail. Armed with a sharp chisel and a wooden mallet, he begins carving out the mortise holes. Each strike is measured and deliberate, removing just enough material to create perfect squares. Sitting peacefully in the yard, he repeats this process over and over. It takes profound patience and a steady hand to hollow out these joints on dozens of wooden strips. The square edges just won't do for the pillars. Using a traditional hand plane, he shaves off thin ribbons of wood, slowly rounding the corners until the shape transforms entirely. With rhythmic, sweeping motions, the square strips become perfectly smooth, cylindrical poles. It's mesmerizing to watch raw lumber take on such an elegant, refined form right before our very eyes. Moving indoors, he wraps sandpaper around the poles, sliding it back and forth to achieve a flawless, splinter-free finish. Every tiny detail matters when creating a masterpiece of this scale. He then uses a fine hand saw to cut intricate notches and grooves into the rounded wood. These precise indentations are the secret to the brilliant interlocking puzzle-like joints. The tops of the pillars are carefully carved into elegant lotus bud shapes. He works tirelessly, even as night falls and a brilliant full moon rises over the quiet courtyard. As the sun rises again, the real magic begins. He takes two intricately carved pieces and slides them together. They immediately interlock with a satisfying and completely flush fit. Without a single drop of glue, he starts assembling the smaller structural modules. The tenons slide smoothly into the mortises, creating a surprisingly rigid framework, just through clever architectural geometry. He gently presses the crossbeams into the vertical pillars. Piece by piece, the skeleton of the structure grows, revealing the sheer genius of traditional Chinese mortise and tenon wood architecture. Now, these fully assembled pavilion frames are carefully mounted onto the heavy wooden piers. A slender wooden peg is slid through to lock the entire crossbeam system in place. With the floor decking perfectly aligned, he moves on to securing the joints. Tiny, hand-carved wooden dowels are inserted into pre-drilled holes, acting as natural nails to bind everything. Each little dowel is pushed into the locking channels of the beams. Using a heavy wooden block, he gently taps them deep inside, making the connection absolutely rock solid. Next, delicate wooden railings are attached to the outer edges. He slides horizontal bracing bars right into the uppermost mortise holes, framing out the top section of the bridge. A larger, more complex pavilion module is then carefully lowered onto the main decking. He gently nudges the base of the pillars, ensuring every single joint aligns flawlessly. The roof's load-bearing frame is then seated right on top of the pillars. You can see the pure precision in that cross-shaped locking joint, perfectly designed to distribute weight. He picks up a beautifully crafted, perforated wooden railing panel. With a gentle push, this decorative piece is seated snugly along the inner corridor, adding an elegant aesthetic touch. Long wooden slats are laid out to form comfortable bench seating along the walkway. It's starting to look like a true sanctuary, a place where weary travelers would rest. The roof comes next. Intricately carved wooden panels, textured to look like real clay tiles, are laid over the frame. He carefully fits the overlapping sections of the subroofs. Look at how seamlessly those corner pieces meet. To finish the peak, he uses a traditional hand-powered bow drill, a timeless tool that creates high-speed friction with effortless grace. The metal bit bites into the wooden roof peak. Pushing and pulling the bow, the drill spins rapidly, boring a precise little hole right at the very top. A beautifully turned, lotus-shaped finial is delicately placed into the hole. To ensure the roof is completely sealed, a long wooden strip is pressed over the converging corner seams. Curved eaves, shaped like the prow of a boat, are attached to the corners. He blows away the sawdust, taking a moment to admire the massive covered bridge model. We return to where we started. That pure, freshly pressed tung oil is scooped up with a coconut shell, pouring like liquid gold into a small ceramic bowl. A soft bristle brush is soaked in the rich oil. He begins to paint the wooden roof, and you can instantly see the wood drink it in, coming alive. The pale wood deepens into a warm, glowing hue, revealing every carved detail. He meticulously coats the entire structure, preserving his hard work with this natural, waterproof finish. Tiny hand-painted calligraphy signs are hung elegantly from the wooden pillars. The camera glides through the polished corridor, making you feel as though you could walk right inside. Finally, the artisan sits back in his living room, brewing a quiet cup of tea. He rests beside his breathtaking wind and rain bridge, a true masterpiece of patience.